Edgar here. I'm going to do a review on a handgun a lot of folks have been asking about, remarking on in fact. It's an extremely popular one. I did not specifically include it in some of my other lists, although it really is a great little handgun. This is the CZ82. A little bit on the history on the CZ82. This was the replacement for the old CZ52, the fire breather that was in a 7.62 by 25 Tokarev round shooting monster. It was a military handgun, Czechoslovakian design. This is also a military handgun. The 82 is really their military police handgun. The 83 is a version that has a lot of other features to it. You can get it in a 32 ACP for one thing. This is the replacement for the CZ52 as a military handgun though. Some exotic things about it is that it has a chrome-lined polygonal barrel. Now what that really means is that it doesn't have normal rifling. When they're manufacturing this, they actually twist the barrel a bit, and that gives the twist to the bullet as it goes out. And surprisingly, it works extremely well. There are a handful of other polygonal barrels out there, but I think this is probably the most common of the ones that you'll find. So when you look down the barrels of them, they look smooth. But if you look really closely, you can kind of see the fact that it's got that polygon kind of shape to it, which is what makes the bullet twist. Chrome lining, of course, is kind of nice in the sense that it makes it very durable, very reliable. I know there's supposed to be a bit of a trade-off in chrome lining with accuracy, but anyone who's fired these knows that they are very, very accurate. One of the things about them is there's just a straight blowback design. You know, the classic blowback design that makes for actually a very accurate shooting handgun. Now on the sights are driftable. You can adjust them by drifting. The front sight of course is fixed. And they're not really terrible for sights when you think of old military weapons. You know, so many of the military weapons have those things that are so tiny they're almost impossible to see. I guess because I guess they figure in combat you're going to be point shooting, not really aiming. These actually have pretty reasonable sights. They're not bad for eyes like mine to acquire. I'll show you that yes, it is empty. Takedown is pretty close to what you would expect for most of these sort of PPK types designs. You pop this down, it clicks pretty nicely. Pull it back, lift it up, and off it comes. And you see that rigid mounted barrel. Now, one of the other things that's very interesting on this and very sweet on the CZ, let's put this back together. It's a double action, single action. See how easily that goes on, by the way. 12 round double stack magazine. So it's got a fair amount of, oh, you got to snap it back. Put it back in. It goes in. 12 round capacity. So it is a double stack. I have small hands. I generally don't like too thick a handgun, but these really aren't bad. They fit my hand pretty well. They're ergonomically quite nice. Things seem to fit extremely well. Now let's talk a little bit about that trigger. Okay, it's double action, single action. I will say this, of a handgun that isn't off the scale expensive, I think the CZ82 has the sweetest trigger of any you'll ever find. The thing, I mean, the expression of it's like butter, that's exactly what it's like. Just incredibly smooth. I have to say that firing these is almost a treat from the trigger standpoint. Now they do have a little snap. There's a little bit of a recoil to them, but not so much that would bother you. These actually weigh 28 ounces unloaded, so it's not like it's a light handgun. It's a metal frame, of course. One tiny downside maybe is the finishes have this kind of baked on finish that usually will show wear fairly quickly. This one's really not too bad as the 82s go, but you can see the kind of wear that you'll get on this kind of baked on finish. I know a lot of aficionados of the 82s will strip that finish off and put something else on it, maybe even have them blued. But in any event, they're very durable, very reliable, Still fairly reasonably priced. I know everybody thinks about it. I got my first one for $160 maybe 3 years ago. You can't get them for that anymore. You're probably going to be paying, you know, with maybe one magazine, you're probably going to be paying around $250 now for them if they're in good shape. And I can see them actually pushing up towards $300 now. Still a reasonable price for a reliable handgun, but let's face it, handguns are going up quickly. Demand's gotten up such that it's very difficult to collect a whole slew of these types of handguns anymore. Not like the days when you could get them for $100. Anyway, it's a great handgun. People are right, it's one of the great bargains, and pretty much can't go wrong if you pick one up. This is Edgar. Let me know what you think.